Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode 99 of the Canberra Football Show. The timing and the episode numbers work really well because our final episode of the season will be our grand final reviews. Awesome stuff there. Michael, how's it going today? And grand finals just around the corner.
Yeah, look, could be doing a lot better. It's hay fever season, as I'm sure many people are exposed to right now. But other than that, 99 episodes in, Matt, and like you said, it sort of aligned really well. The grand final review will be our 100th, the century mark. So that's a great achievement for us, obviously, to reach that milestone over the years of work that we've put in to the podcast. But nevertheless, the games this past weekend, Matt, and obviously the fixtures that we'll get into before then as well in the NPLW side of things, just entertaining football. You had teams building leads and teams coming back and, equalizing, and then obviously teams going on to win as well. So just a roller coaster of emotions throughout a number of games, Matt, across the three competitions as well. So you couldn't really ask for much more, and it's what's pretty much expected of finals football anyway, given how good the teams are and how closely competitive it is. This is always going to happen. And we'll kick things off in the NPL scene, Matt, where we had the preliminary final between Gungahlin United and Canberra, Croatia. It was Canberra, Croatia 5, Gungahlin United 2, so huge win for Canberra, Croatia as they stake their claim in the 2023 NPL Grand Final. On the score sheet for them was Ahmed Shaibu with a hat-trick, Subasic and Dominici. And for Gungahlin United, it was Sam Habdamariam, that is, and Fernando. What a sensational game of football this one was, Matt. Obviously, Gungahlin, they got off to the perfect start in the first 20 minutes in this game, going 2-0 up. Their first goal came from the Habdamariam brothers actually linking up. So it was Jeremy that found Sam to score inside the 6-yard box. And then they doubled their advantage when Max Green's header hit the back of Fernando. And then the ball sort of freakishly looped over Sam Brown in the Canberra, Croatia goal. So before you knew it, they were right under the pump straight away, Canberra, Croatia being 2-0 down. But like we've said many times this season, sometimes getting a 2-0 lead that early on in the game, there's still plenty of time for that other team to come back and recover. And that's exactly what Canberra, Croatia did in this contest. They didn't drop their heads one bit, and they ended up halving the deficit just before the halftime break, courtesy of Ahmed Shaibu. So he had the penalty, but he missed it. But fortunately, he scored on the rebound, Matt, to cut the deficit to 2-1. Obviously, a key time to grab a goal and get your team back into the game. And then the second half came along, Matt, and although it took them a little bit of time to get the equaliser, they eventually got it in the 67th minute, Canberra, Croatia, as Ahmed Shaibu got his second goal of the game and his team's second from a corner situation. And then Daniel Cobertaldo missed a great chance to ensure the win inside the 90 minutes, but that wasn't meant to be. So the game headed into extra time. And like I said, this game just had absolutely everything from Gungahlin establishing an early lead to Canberra, Croatia clawing their way back. And then when it hit extra time, that's when Croatia turned things up a notch in a big way. Subasic, Dominici, and Ahmed Shaibu's third goal of the game cemented a 5-2 victory at the end of extra time. And like I mentioned at the top, Matt, it means that Canberra, Croatia will now face the O'Connor Knights in the 2023 NPL Grand Final. What a matchup. You couldn't ask for a better matchup. The two Croatian clubs going at it in a NPL Grand Final. That'll be absolute scenes, and I'm sure a lot of people will get out there to watch that encounter. And Matt, that leads right into our NPL Grand Final fixture. Do you want to get into the venue and what time and day we'll be able to sort of go and watch that one?
Yeah, huge. The NPL Grand Final, like you said, the Croatian derby, the Chavapi derby, however you want to call this one, it will be an absolutely massive grand final. So congratulations to Croatia for making it through. Commiserations to Gungahlin United. Like we said, O'Connor Knights against Canberra, Croatia, Saturday, September 24, 7 p.m. at Deakin Stadium. Prime time, Saturday football. Russ and Frank Keisha will be on the commentary for that one, I'm sure. If you can't get to that game, but if you are going to get to that game, I'd suggest getting there a little bit early. I'm sure this one will be completely packed out on the stadium end. I'm not sure about the other end, but in terms of the stand end on this side, I'm sure it'll be absolutely packed. Drums going and everything like that. It'll be a fantastic occasion there. And just before that leads us into our NPLW match, and that final will be just before the NPL one, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But before we get into the grand final, Michael, we of course have the midweek action that we are about to break down, the qualification semi-final and the elimination semi-final, since these matches were postponed. And we'll start with the qualification one. Canberra Olympic versus Belconnen United. Belconnen United with a massive 2-0 victory over Olympic. Belco ended the first half with a bang, scoring stoppage time to give their side the lead and momentum heading into the second interval. The play began in their own half with Lisa Carey before the Blue Devils had some great piece of team play through the midfield before Talia Backhouse ran in from the left wing inside the box before squaring it for Sophia Paliwoda for the opening goal. The biggest chance for Olympic to get back into this one was a Maddie Whittle chance, which was denied by Belco goalkeeper Ellie Summers. So Ellie Summers stepping up massive there for her side. Belconnen United scored at a crucial time once again by Paliwoda in the 82nd minute. Akira Bobbin cross was cleared by Jamison. However, the clearance was picked up by Paliwoda, who proceeded to strike an absolute bullet into the back of the net. This was her brace for the match. And not only was it a great game for her, it was also her first 2 goals of the NPLW campaign. So absolutely huge for her. And that's how it ended, 2-0. Not the result that the league champions Olympic were looking for. Their season was not over, though, as they had another chance at proceeding to the grand final in a preliminary final match against Canberra, Croatia, which we will discuss very, very soon on the show. Overall, though, an absolutely superb performance from Belconnen United, turning around their fortunes after losing to Olympic in that title decider a few weeks ago. They had a number of chances in this one and pressured Olympic from the off straight away in this one. So Scotty Conlon's tactics working a treat on the night. They advanced to the grand final against Canberra, against the winner of Canberra Olympic versus Canberra, Croatia, as we will discuss a little bit later. But first, Michael, who won? I mean, I already said the answer in the previous one, but who won between Canberra, Croatia and Gungahlin United in the elimination semi-final to make the preliminary final?
Well, first of all, it was a great game, Matt. A sensational game, as I mentioned at the top of the show, where you were really spoilt with closely contested games that obviously were goal-filled as well. So this encounter, it was Canberra, Croatia 3, Gungahlin United 2. So for Croatia, it was Bernie, Barac, and Mazes on the score sheet for the hosts. And for Gungahlin United, it was Wineke and Percival on the score sheet for the away outfit in this game, Matt. So it was a drama-filled encounter between these 2 fantastic teams. Like I mentioned, they both have had fantastic seasons, to say the least. And it was Croatia who opened the scoring, thanks to Bernie scoring in the first 15 minutes of the game. And then Barac made it 2-0 6 minutes later in the 21st minute when she found the bottom corner of the net. So the perfect start for Canberra, Croatia in this encounter. And then Gungahlin, they showed great determination not to let their heads hang low, and they got back into the game 10 minutes later in the 31st minute when Wineke scored a missile from 25 meters out, Matt. It was a sensational strike to get Gungahlin back into this game, and then they drew level with their second goal 6 minutes later in the 37th minute to make it 2-2 through Percival. And then the great thing about this game, Matt, was just when it seemed like this clash was going to head into extra time, Mars popped up for Croatia to score a controversial winner. Should have it stood, shouldn't have it stood. Look, these things happen in football, and ultimately it's down to the referees to make a call on the field. And the referee, awarded a goal in this instance, and it meant that Canberra Croatia sealed a 3-2 win. Like I said, very close game, and definitely an effort that Gungahlin United should be happy with, considering the struggles that they endured last season. To bounce back this season and make finals and give Canberra Croatia a run for their money really speaks to how much they improved in the space of a year. But, the loss for Gungahlin, it's a disappointing end to the season for them. But like I said, it doesn't take away the great campaign that they had. They finished runners-up in the Federation Cup. And like I mentioned just before, they managed to get themselves back in the top 4 finals picture. So Andrew Woodham's team have, defied expectations this year. And you can be sure that they'll be proud of their efforts and come back even stronger next season. You can count on that. And for Canberra Croatia, they kept their grand final dreams alive with this last grasp winner from Marzis, and they advanced to the preliminary final in this instance to play their rival club, as it's proved to be over the past few years, Matt, in Canberra Olympic. So obviously the winner between those two teams were going to cement their place in the 2023 NPLW Grand Final. So I'll leave it to you, Matt, to get into that preliminary final that we witnessed not so long ago.
No, of course, the preliminary final was last night. Last night as of this recording, 2 days ago, as it will come out on Tuesday. Big victory for Canberra Olympic, 4-1 over Canberra Croatia, knocking out the Deacon side from their chance of making the grand final. Olympic got off to a wonder start by scoring in the opening 11 minutes. A free kick from Ali Cook found Vanessa Ryan, who towered highest for the header. 3 minutes later, Olympic doubled their advantage over their rivals via Nicole Jaloka. Ryan whipped in a cross for Michaela Thornton, who neatly slipped the ball to Jaloka for that second goal. To add more pressure onto Croatia, Olympic scored once again just before half-time, giving their rivals a monumental task in the second stanza to try to make a comeback. Kat Peric was the one who scored this one. Sienna Burney gave her side a modicum of hope as she shot from distance over Janet King 2 minutes into the second half. So a great way for Croatia to start this half if they were to make a comeback. Unfortunately for them, though, their hopes of that comeback were dashed almost immediately as Olympic scored 1 minute after Croatia scored through Madison Keisha to make it 4-1. Croatia kept fighting until the end, though, with chances and even hit the crossbar on an occasion as well. Olympic were happy to show off their defensive prowess to see out this game after taking that 4-1 lead. Disappointing way for Canberra Croatia to end their season against their rivals with such a scoreline and missing out on a grand final for the second year in a row. And obviously for a club like Canberra Croatia to not be in contention for that grand final or getting the league title, I'm sure will be disappointing for them. But as we mentioned, Croatia are always an ambitious club, and you can guarantee they'll try to regroup for next season and try to mount another challenge. But overall, this was such a competitive season this year in NPLW, with essentially 4 teams vying for that league title until the last couple of weeks where Croatia and Gungahlin dropped out. Fantastic performance all round though from Olympic. Their intensity to claim 3 in the first half and squash out hopes of Croatia immediately after they scored was the sign of a team that's ready for the grand final, and a sign of a team that is ready to go and trying to make up for that loss last week to Belconnen United. So really, both sides have really teed it up really well here for this grand final, and they will, of course, play United in that rematch on Saturday afternoon. Talk about the match on Saturday afternoon, Michael. Where's the location and what's the time?
Yeah, so for the NPLW 2023 grand final, it's Belconnen United up against Canberra Olympic, like you mentioned, Matt. It will be played Saturday, September 24, 4 p.m. at Deakin Stadium, so just before the NPL grand final. So it's going to be an amazing clash. And I just got thinking just now, it's actually crazy to think that Canberra, Croatia, aren't in a grand final again. That's 2 seasons in a row where they haven't been able to make the NPLW grand final. When you consider just how good of a team they are, and then that's what I mean by that. They're a quality outfit. So not to see them again in a grand final just goes to show how this competition has improved leaps and bounds over the years. Matt, do you want to get into our CPL preliminary final? We have just broken down the NPL match and the NPLW matches there. All really close encounters, Matt, when you sort of look at it, apart from maybe the Canberra Olympic against Canberra, Croatia prelim result in the NPLW. But this was the outstanding sort of result of this past weekend in terms of the scoreline. And it was a familiar outfit that finished top of the CPL competition that ran absolutely riot.
Yeah, look, Yoogali certainly did run right over ANU here. 6-0 on the day. Yoogali got off to an absolute flyer at Riverside, scoring twice in the opening 4 minutes. Mason Donadell captured the first as he had a superb first touch off an attempted ANU clearance before firing one home. Joe Priest won the ball back for the second on the halfway line and proceeded to make a great run before cutting back inside a player or two before finishing off the goal. Darren Bailey scored from the penalty spot to give his side the crucial goal to avoid leading 2-0 at halftime. We all know leading 2-0 at halftime is the most dangerous score in football at the moment. And obviously he made that 3-0 for Yoogali, giving ANU a monumental task at this point to try to make a comeback. This was also Bailey's 18th goal of the CPL campaign. Yoogali buried the game, though, just before halftime, scoring another two more times in the last 8 minutes of the first half. Josh DeRossi got his first of the match for the fourth as he ran on the end of a great through ball from Joe Priest. And then Priest got his brace with the fifth of the match as he intercepted a pass and made another darting run to score that one. This was also Priest's 14th goal of the CPL campaign. Yoogali scored the only goal of the second half to make it 6-0 via Josh DeRossi for his second of the match and overall 13th of the campaign. So as you can see, quite a number of the high scorers here at the moment in this competition are the league champions from Yoogali. Overall, though, a result to forget for ANU as they were under pressure from the very first minute in this encounter and just could not find a way back against the relentless league champions in Yoogali. ANU's long wait to make another CPL grand final will have to wait another year as they have been knocked out of this one. And I believe they haven't made a grand final appearance since 2019, if I'm not mistaken. There could be 2018, but I'm pretty sure it was 2019. So that long wait will continue there for ANU. But overall, they've had a good season despite this result in being knocked out. And I'm more than sure that they will be recouping in the off-season and making another effort for it next season. In terms of Yoogali, though, an absolutely, truly sensational performance here for them as they were on a mission to make up for last week's loss and to make the grand final. This sets up a stellar grand final against Queanbeyan on Sunday at Riverside. Queanbeyan have defeated Yoogali in their last 2 meetings now, I believe. So the Griffiths side will be looking to turn that around. And then, of course, Queanbeyan, despite not gaining promotion, will want to finish the season with a trophy and try and finish as well as they possibly can to give them a good launching pad for next season's promotion challenge. Overall, though, what a statement victory from Yoogali it was. And Michael, I just mentioned the grand final there. I already said where it was, but what is the fixture list for next weekend's CPL grand final?
Yeah, the CPL grand final, Matt, will obviously be played between Queanbeyan City and Yoogali, and it's going to be such a great game of football, Matt. Sunday, September 25, 2:30 p.m. at Riverside. So obviously we've got the NPLW and the NPL grand finals on the Saturday back to back, and then you can even back up watching those games by heading out to Riverside on the Sunday afternoon to watch the CPL grand final, which, like I said, no doubt will provide entertainment between both of these sides. And I can't wait to break it all down on the 100th episode, Matt.
Yeah, that will be awesome there. And also to mention, NPLW reserve grade will also be on. I believe that's at 10 a.m. on Saturday. NPL 23s will be just after that at 1 p.m. And then CPL 23s will also be, I believe, on Bar TV as well. In terms of free or subscription, I'm not sure, but it will be on there as well. And that'll be just before the CPL grand final. And that'll be, I believe, at 11:30, if my maths is correct there. So awesome stuff all around. And as always, grand final time is always good to see at two very good venues in Deakin and Riverside. So I'm sure the crowds will be out in numbers for that one. And let's hope the weather permits this time. I remember last year, not for the CPL grand final, it was actually decent weather for that. I believe the NPL grand final, during the NPLW one, I believe it started raining or just before it, something like that, if I'm trying to take my memory back a year, which isn't good for my memory. But it'll be awesome times nonetheless. Michael, any last words before we sign off?
Can't wait to get into the grand final weekend on episode 100, Matt. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and can't wait to break all the games down and see who comes out victorious and who ultimately comes up short. But nevertheless, it's going to be a great weekend of football, and I can't wait to break it all down.
It certainly will be. That was episode 99 of the Canberra Football Show. And good luck, of course, to everybody in the grand finals this weekend across all the grades and all the comps. That was episode 99. Everybody have a fantastic weekend, and most importantly, enjoy the football.